What's up, guys? It's your girl, 985, Psycho Sister, Auntie M, Angie Bob, Angie Marie, Angie Cakes, Mom. However you know me, you know me. And I am coming at you with a different kind of video-ish. And we're going to try to keep it short because it is 9/11, Clayton's favorite time. And I have a lot to cover and a lot to do. So, I don't know if anybody's noticed, but I have taken a little hiatus. And I've been on TikTok Live, very minimal. I have not posted a blog. I have not posted a vlog. I have not posted much of anything the last couple weeks. And it's really been a lot of mental issues going on. But I'm also battling a lot of things. I'm also currently fighting many different fires. And that's no pun intended to the fires we have around here. But I have a lot of different areas in my life that are in catastrophe. And I am trying to sort them out. Please excuse me as I am kind of distracted while I do this video, but I'm going through my coins. I do this thing for my dad where I save anything that's over 1970. Well, I do the 70s, so if it's 78, 79, I'll still take it. And then I put it in a little container, and then all year I wait and save it, and then I give it to my dad for his birthday. This year, me and Sabrina decorated a little pillbox, which was fun. I wish we had a little more time to make it a little bit more detailed, but I thought it was pretty cute because we have like a little spot for whatever. But going through all of this for my dad, I've discovered that there's actually quite value in like different coins, and this little hobby that my dad put me on to years ago could actually be something that's a little bit beneficial and something I can pass down. So my dad keeps everything from 1970s and older, but he doesn't keep the 1980s or 1990s. And I'm like, you know what? At one point, the 1980s and 90s are going to be just like the 59 now. So I go through all of my pennies, every paycheck, and if it's before 1990 or before 2000, so 2000 before, I put in a little container. Like this is my current container of coins. And then my dad doesn't really have a container right now. I actually just found excuse the dirty cup. It had a whole bunch of change in it. I just found a 1959 penny. It's not a wheat back though, but it's 1959. So I need to get a new container because his birthday just happened. So he just got all of his pennies, or all of his coins. And I think it's something fun that I can like pass down to Sabrina, and then maybe one day she's doing the same thing. But with that being said, part of the journey that I'm on is also a financial aspect. I just got out of the shower. So as anybody knows in my life, I worked hella hours at Durham. I made hella money at Durham. What? What about a bath? I did. Did I say shower? My bad. I got a little listener back there. Right, we took a bath. Anyways, you're supposed to be sleeping.
Well, I can't right now.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, well, I'll be there soon. I want to put out this video. But anyways, anybody who knows me knows I worked hella hours. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense that I don't have a house right now, or I don't have like a brand new van, because that's what I really need right now is a van. Side note, the reason I told you about the coins is because I'm currently checking this 2 weeks collection, and I had actually, I think like a month worth that I need to go through, and I've been putting it off. So just like when I'm on TikTok Live, I'm going to start doing my real life stuff while I'm on these too. And that way you guys can also kind of see my process and how I get things done, because I'm starting to piece together things. But one area of my life that really sucked is the finances. And you would think with as much money that I made being single with no child at Durham, that I would have a house by now. And especially because like I had a 401k from Pitney Bowes. I made a lot of money in my life because I'm a worker bee and I put in them hours. So the problem isn't making the money. The problem is spending the money. And I find myself doing things like when I have money, that instant gratification of, oh, I can buy a new laptop, or I can buy a new tablet. Or now the newest thing is like I can buy Sabrina Gabby dollhouse things or Barbie things, or we can go to the movies, or, I can take my whole family to the movies. And even though it's like $200 ordeal, I'm like, oh, no big deal. I'm making money, no big deal. So I started making money again, and I started falling back into that no big deal mindset. And I don't want that, because I don't want 12 years of doing what I'm doing now, just like with Durham, to pass by and I have nothing to show for it. So I got to thinking to myself, I'm like, you know what? I wish there was a way that I could build credit for Sabrina right now. Like, I could just, like, get something in her name, start building her credit so that when she came out the gates, it's like, boom. And there's not a system for that. And at first, I'm like, man, that's wild. There should be a system for that. And then I'm like, hey, dork face, there is a system for that. Get your shit up so that you can provide her with the down payment, or you can be the co-signer, or you can be that addition too. And as soon as she hits the, ground running at 7 or 18, she can, go get a car loan because she'll have $5,000, $10,000 saved or whatever. And so she can build credit. And I can use the time to educate her about finances. So then I thought to myself, I said, well, how educated am I about finances? And it sounds simple, right? Like, you make money, you spend money, you invest money, you make money, you buy properties, you buy houses. But what do you do when you went your whole life? I was spoiled, but I never had the Skechers that the other kids had. I never had the My Little Ponies that my cousin had. I never had, the new rollerblades that the kids down the block had. I didn't have all those luxuries in life. So now that I'm older, I'm finding that I still want these luxuries, but not in the form of rollerblades. I want the newest iPhone. I want my daughter to have the newest Gabby stuff. I want to splurge when I have money because it makes me feel good. And that's what I do. And I was kind of spending money willy-nilly. And I think that every single event in my life is for a reason. And I think that one of the reasons that my life circled to living with my brother Rocky and his wife Trina, one of the biggest reasons, I believe, is the universe wanted me to align with my brother as far as money goes, because each of my brothers have very specific things that they're very good at. And it's literally like they've got the entire life just like on lock. Like, if you just put them together, like my brother Rocky, his financial skills and his like tedious method of tracking what he spends daily and knowing where every penny goes, like, that is wild skill. And when I stayed with him, he actually showed me his spreadsheet and his method. And I tried it for a little bit and it didn't work for me. We're going to talk about why it didn't work for me. And we're going to talk a little bit about how I got out of that. So this video is going to be a little bit longer, but I want to talk you guys through it because I've been missing for a while and whatever. So my brother literally has a spreadsheet. He either has one or two spreadsheets. I think it's on one spreadsheet, 2 tabs, but he has something that he tracks his spending every day. And he has something that shows his, upcoming bills, what he plans to spend, what he can spend, what he has in every bank account that he has. And he's got multiple because he saves for different things. And he really, financially, he's really on point. I can't do that, honestly. I can't track what I spend every day. I can't resist the temptation of, I have $700 in my bank account. Let me put this $300 Amazon order in, because I'm not thinking about the future. I'm not thinking about a house. I'm literally thinking about how can I make it happen now. And then what's wild is I'll spend money and I'll think I have it figured out. And then something always happens that sets me back. So then I get stuck in this, well, fuck it. I should have just spent the money when I had it. That's not working for me at all. So I started looking at different budgeting videos, and I started watching different YouTube videos. I always start any training that I do myself because I'm in life training. And I actually I was at the library one day on a visit, and this book just popped out at me. Now, I don't know the rules on like copyright or whatever about talking about books, but if this lady wants to sue me, please do, because then I can meet you in court and I can shake your hand, because you are literally changing my life. So her name is Berna Anat. The book is called Money Out Loud, All the Financial Stuff No One Taught Us. And I am not actually that far into the book. I'm only on like page 57, which is a lot for me. But she does a lot of like talking about finances in a way that doesn't make it seem as scary. It doesn't make it seem as daunting. It doesn't make it seem like as scary as, oh my God, I have to track every penny. She allows for oopsies, and she has a couple of good points that I'm going to post some blogs about. But the first point that the first thing that she does, she talks about something called frugal flexing. And we're going to talk about that at a later day, because frugal flexing is definitely something that happens in my life. I have witnessed my entire life. I will probably forever witness. And I feel like probably at some level, everybody frugal flex. Short version, frugal flexing is when you're like, oh, I'm really like, I don't have a house. but I spent $150 on Barbies last month. So that's frugal flexing. It's like you don't really have the money, but you're like, yeah, I got this. But the one thing she did in here that really caught my eye is she talks about you need to be familiar with your relationship with money and with your life and your life bill. And she starts developing this mindset that your life is your business, which is wild, because I literally told somebody, I want to be an influencer and I want to teach people how to get their shit together, especially single mothers. However, I can't do that unless I get my shit together and then tell people how to do it. So I thought that'd be cool if my life was just a business. I could just get paid to live. Like, you know, be one of those people that like post a couple pictures on Snapchat and I have 15 sponsors and, you know, 25,000 deposited in my bank account. Big time goals. That's definitely unrealistic, but you know what I'm saying. I want to be the one, the Mel Robbins or the Trent Sheltons, where people are like, man, I listened to Angie's podcast, that Fat Girl Rock Bottom podcast last week. That shit changed my life. Like, I want to be that. And that's what this is. So, she talks to that, and she talks about how you're your CFO. You need to have meetings with your CFO. And that totally falls in the line with the life compartments that I'm building for the book I'm writing. And I have to take some time with my financial self. I need to sit down and not just, oh shit, this is due, let me throw a bill at it. Because what I did do is I was kind of in survival mode at Rocky's house. So I couldn't plan what bills we're going to get or how much to pay on each bill because I couldn't pay them all. So it would be, okay, which one is farthest in debt, or which one is most delinquent, which one is going to make me lose my car or any of my means of working. And I was balancing things in a different kind of budget, not a budget of I have $1,000 and I have, you know, $900 in bills. I was budgeting in, I have $450, I have $550 in food stamps, which doesn't do shit for me except for buy a ridiculous amount of food we don't need. But I have $450 and I have $700 worth of bills, not counting a place to live. So here's what I'm going to do. And I'm just going to pay the one that's farthest behind. And as I started working more, I noticed that I started managing my money a little bit more. Okay, so now I'm not 90 days behind on my car and stressing every single day, oh God, is today the day they come get my car. I'm only 75 days. And I know that I have that 15-day grace period, which is not responsible. And I do not advise it. If you are not in survival mode, do not budget like that. But for me, it was like, okay. So then I got to a point that I was working a lot and I wasn't getting a whole lot of time with Sabrina. And I find myself feeling really guilty because I don't get that time with her. So I'm like giving up all this time. And for what? If I'm just spending all my money on bills and I'm not like doing anything with her or giving her like any kind of, I'm not saying monetary, sorry, I guess I'll leave this on. I'm not saying that monetary is like a necessary thing, but if I'm not making memories with her, what's the point? And now I'm working a bunch. So I start going to the movies with her and I realize this is costing me like $80 a time. Movies are not cheap, especially when she wants to do the jumpy thing. And then she wants to buy a new hair tie at Claire's or whatever. And I was just letting it happen. And it felt great. I was making money. I slowly went from 90 days delinquent on my car to 75 to 50 to 10 to literally this last check. I forgot to pay my car payment. Like I forgot it was coming out. I didn't even when I calculated in my head that morning because I didn't have a CFO meeting. I calculated in my head that morning. I'm like, okay, I have this much. It's cool. I can spend this much. It's cool. And then my car payment came out. And good news is I still had enough money in my bank account for my car payment because I'm trying to leave a set amount of money in there not touched just in case. And so my just in case money worked out for me this time. I did end up in a little position where I was super financially strapped. I mean, I didn't even know if I'd have enough money for gas for my visits for the entire week because I had a couple extra visits. Well, then 3 days after my last payday, I've splurged a little bit. I spent $140 taking all my laundry to the laundromat instead of doing it at home because I thought I was rich like that. And I bought each of my nieces a doll and my daughter a doll. That was $100. I got my oil change, which was like 3 months overdue. So that was a big step in my adult life. And then 3 days after all that happened, my brakes start making this weird noise. Now, granted, I did hear it before, but not like constantly. And I did know that there was something going on with my brakes, but I didn't know what. And I didn't want to take it in because I didn't have the time or the money. And so eventually they got to a point that they were like grinding. And so I took it over to the tire store on Sprague. The one by the old Kmart. Do not go there unless you absolutely have to because you need payments. I'm going to tell you why. I get it in there, and I have $280 in my pocket, thanks to some birthday money that a very good friend gave me for my birthday, late. So I have $280 or whatever. I'm like, all right, they'll finance half. I call them. I'm like, how much are brakes? They're like, oh, it's only $450, only $200 down, and then we'll finance. Perfect. I have $60 for gas. If I have to, I'll borrow like $20 from my dad or something. I got this. I go in there, and I sit there and I wait. The guy comes out and he's like, I'm so sorry. I misquoted you. We didn't know it was that bad. My mechanic doesn't know how you got here safely. You need new, what do they say? I need calipers, rotors, and front pads. And it was going to be like $972, and they can only finance $500 of it. So I have to come up with $400. I freaked out. I'm not even going to lie. I have a really good friend he's really long distance, but we were Snapchatting. And I literally like ended a snap to talk to the person. When I came back, I was in tears. And I had a full ass mental breakdown because that's on top of this. I have a super secret battle that I'm fighting right now that's very personal to me. And I'm not going to release it probably until my book comes out so people can kind of see how I dealt with it. Right now, it's something that only a select few people know that I'm dealing with. And I'm keeping like a side book of like the journey with this so that when I release it, it comes out, whatever. But on top of that, on top of stressing out, on top of being away from Sabrina so much, on top of working my ass off, spending all this time on reports, not getting my blog done, not getting anything done, this was just a huge blow. It just crushed me. And I get on my Facebook and my Instagram, and I post a picture that basically says, I'm fucked. And I have a full-on panic attack. And then I came home. I came upstairs to my room. I texted my boss and said, this would have been on the 14th. I said, I'm going to be out of work until the 25th. And she's not my boss. She hates when we call her a boss. She's the agency owner who we're subcontracted through. And, hold on. I got to grab my water. I don't want to restart this. Hold on. Don't judge me. I don't have pants on. Anyways, so I text my agency owner and I'm like, hey, I'm not gonna be able to do visits until at least the 25th. Thinking I'd get an appointment on Thursday. They could hold my car until payday, and then I could continue with my visits after that. And then I came to my room and I started looking at, I was in my room. Then I opened my budget. I opened my tab that I keep that shows what my invoices are going to be, which is something I've never done before. I never paid attention to what was coming in. I would just say, okay, I know I have about this much. I would know the day that I turned in my invoice, and outside of that, I didn't know. And I opened it, and I looked, and I said, oh, shit. I have a check coming up on the 25th for, hold on, I'm opening it right now, for like $2,700. That's everything I need and then some. I just have to make it until then. That's okay. I can do that. I just won't work. I won't drive. I'll wait until the 25th. I have the money coming in. I'll be able to take care of it. Or at least the financing through the tire store. After I come up with this plan and I start feeling a little more comfortable, my boss is okay. Thank you for letting her know. And that's a joy of the job I'm in, is that I am my own boss. So if, I have to take time off to deal with this, I have to. And that's okay now. So I come with this plan, and then the comments start coming in on my Facebook and my Instagram and my Snapchat. All these different places of like, take it here. And I'm like, yo, but I need somewhere that finances. And people are like, oh, sorry. And then, other people would offer more like advice. And it was just an overwhelming amount of help. And I really, 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 really appreciated it. Finally, ended up, there was a person who offered to loan me the money to finance. And that was a godsend. I was like, okay, you know what? I hate borrowing money. I hate asking for help. I hate owing somebody stuff. It's not something I like anymore, because it's a huge hit to my confidence. And it's a huge hit to the, why am I working so hard if I still have to, I still have to borrow money from people. And so I was like, all right, I'll take you up on it. He's like, we'll call around first. So I did. In the meantime, I had another really good friend offer to put the brakes on for me on Saturday. So that would have been only 5 days. And I'm like, you know what? That's great, because then instead of being out of work until the 25th, I'll only have to be out. I can go back on the 20th. That's 5 extra days. So in September, I only have to brace for however many. And slowly, I watched this like devastating situation cut itself down slowly. Okay, now it's not 2 weeks, or now I've made it 2 weeks. September comes, I'll have to figure it out then. Maybe I'll have to Uber or something. We'll deal with September later. The morning after, I agree to get my brakes set out Saturday. I call around and I find this place called Ron's here in Spokane, and they're really low key. Like if I drove by them, I probably would be like, but they had a program that all you had to do was have a bank account with $2,000 like deposited monthly, and that's easy. And it's $55 down. So I get approved for $2,200 worth of work. I say, okay, you know what? Fuck it. I can do this by myself. I can use this money that's left in my wallet. I can do this by myself. I reached out to everybody. I'm like, thank you so much, but I've got it figured out. Thank God I did, because it rained like hell, and I would have felt horrible for the man that offered to help put my brakes in. Because it's like my best friend's husband, so I have to give a shit, because I'm just kidding. Fuck you, John. No, I'm just kidding. No, but I would have felt horrible with somebody working on my car on Saturday, or worse, if I couldn't get it done. And so I didn't have to borrow money. I didn't have to have somebody else like go out of their way. I didn't have to. But the fact that I had that support was everything. And that's on top of, I had a friend send me $60, and he's like, you know what? This is just because you're so influential, and I know that I can't pay for your breaks, but if this gets you a coffee or something to help your stress. And he said, you influence so many people, it's the least I can do. Broke me down. My best friend, who, you know, her husband offers to get under my car after working and fix my brakes, broke me down. My other best friend from up in Colville, he brought me money for my birthday, and that was enough to pull me through. That broke me down. But in the best of ways. It was so humbling to send out a distress signal and receive that kind of support back, even though I figured it out, and even though I've got it, and even though I'm gonna 90 days same as cash, I'm only coming out of pocket. And here's the kicker: I didn't need the calipers. Everybody who said I didn't need calipers, you're right, I didn't. But my back brakes, they said with as much as I drive, probably within the next like 6 to 8 months, I'd have to redo them or get those replaced. I said, you know what? Fuck it. I don't need calipers. I'm approved for $2,200. I don't want to use the $2,200, but this is only $60 more. I'm still coming out less than $1,000. Just put both brakes on. So future me doesn't have to worry about, oh shit, I'm between paydays. How am I going to get this fixed? Future me just has to worry about how to pay it. Future me just has to make sure I stay on top of the payments. Future me doesn't have to worry about stopping our future income because of our brakes, because it's handled and I have a lifetime guarantee on them. So starting to set things up for future me started in November. This whole financial thing has been absolutely crazy, because it's just a side pocket of what I'm doing. And to have that devastating of a situation where I was about to be out of work for 11 days turn into, I missed one full day of work because of that, and I took one full day off just for my mental status. And that was gratifying. That was great to be able to say, you know what? I just went through this very, very stressful event. I need to take some time to rejuvenate before I go back to work. And I'm not shamed for that. I'm not guilted for that. I'm not called 400 times because they don't know what kid's on what bus, or they don't know this or that, or who's driving this route. Like, I'm not bothered by any of that. I took a mental day off and I cleaned. And I'm finding that as another life compartment, as I'm going through and I'm touching all of our things and seeing what, you know, works and what I don't like and what I do like and what Sabrina actually plays with, I'm finding therapy through cleaning and organizing. And so having that whole day to just spend with my things and my daughter and my family, and not worry about somebody calling me and asking me how to do the job that I'm not there at. I had people cover for me. I reached out. People were like, hey, I can cover for you. Freaking awesome. My families don't need makeup time. I got a day to recoup. And literally Thursday, I was back on it. So my financial plan of, okay, just pay what is most high risk right now. That's a survival technique that I will talk about for the rest of my life. If you're in that boat where you just don't make enough money, it seems simple. cut your spending or make more money. That's your only two options. But that's not a right now option. You can't right now make more money. You can't right now cut your bills. You can't right now. But what you can do is you can look at your situation in a survival aspect and you can say, what do I need to survive? I need my car or I can't work. If I don't work, the money doesn't come in. So for me, and this is different for everybody, like that's another story we'll get into later about how I had to evaluate, like, you know, at least I have a car to worry about. I have a license to worry about. I have this and that. But if you're in that survival mode, great. I'm now past that survival mode. Now, knock on wood, because anything can happen. But I made it through the breaks pretty much unscathed. Like my invoice is still as much as it would have been. I got a raise August 1st, so that kind of helped supplement. So I really didn't miss out on money for those couple days I took off. So it all turned out great. But now comes tomorrow. I get paid tomorrow. Tomorrow's the day that I get the biggest paycheck that I've made since working at Durham. This is the biggest paycheck that I've had since Sabrina has been old enough to talk. This is the first paycheck that I have that I'll be able to pay all of my money and or all of my bills and have more than $12. This is a paycheck that if I play my cards right, I don't have to count miles, how many miles left in my car until I hit empty next week or in 2 weeks. And if I do it right, this is going to become my norm. This is going to become, I'm not spending 6 hours crying because I don't know how to fix my brakes. That 6 hours could have went into a vlog or a blog or a TikTok live or a chapter in my book or a walk around the block or some food prep or, you know what? And as things fall into place, it's becoming easier and easier to battle each of my little compartments. So with that being said, this Berna Anat tells you that you need to write a letter to money. And I did that. And I wanted to do a blog before I release the video, but I'm not going to do that yet because I don't have time to type. So anybody who watches the videos, you are getting a preview before anyone else. So I wrote my letter. I've also taught myself how to use my digital planning and it's so freaking cool. Let me go here. Journey to my higher self. I want you guys to see this. This is so cool. So in my good notes, I now have all my cases right here. So when I get a call from somebody in admin at work and they're like, hey, which cases are running or who do you have or whatever, I can just boop, look. I have a weekly schedule so I can see what my week looks like. So it's changing a little bit right now with school starting, so it's a little confusing, but it's working. Anyways, let's go down to my higher self. I didn't pick a folder cover yet, but my higher self. Life upgrades. This is for my house, which I'll do a vlog about the realtor and the realty stuff that I'm going through. Another life pocket. And I looked at, you know, different cars that I might want. I have some expectations and some standards for what I want in my next car. I'm starting to build a dream of what I want in my house because I'm going to own a house soon. But journey to my higher self. I'm keeping track of notes inside any kind of, oh, where's my books? Any of the readings that I'm doing or any of the knowledge, I guess. So I'm listening to The Power of Now. I have a lot of notes in there. Getting to know my chakras. I have my chakra cards now, which I'll talk about one day. You'll notice I wear my chakra beads. I burn sage every once in a while, not as much as I should. I'm really into learning about my chakras and my, not just my body, but my mental, my spiritual. So there's that. Blogging for Dummies is another book that I am currently working on. This is more like a homework kind of book. Like, I was thinking to myself about how, you know, we used to have homework. So I'm going to do blogging for dummies, go through that, kind of see what I can get from that. And then money out loud. So when I go into money out loud, oop, that doesn't work. Hold on. I can't do it upside down. I'm a genius, not upside down. So I go into money out loud, money homework, money notes. So we'll go to money, homework. Okay, my money letter. So I'm going to read it to you guys. I wrote this on Saturday, August 12th. Dear Money, I both love you and hate you at the same time. I don't understand you, yet I know you all too well. You make me so happy, but you've ruined my life. I've never been involved in a more confusing, toxic, or dangerous relationship than I have with you. And along with every toxic situation in my life, something's got to change. I can't break up with you or set boundaries and then move your messages to my archives when you cross those boundaries. Or when you cross those boundaries, like I do with other relationships. But I can change the way I interact with you. And with enough motivation and persistence, the way I think and feel about you. I used to feel guilty for buying new things or having nicer material things than my friends or family. I felt an overwhelming sense of responsibility for financial decisions or outcomes of other people's money journeys, such as the house dilemma, which we'll talk about later. I'm sure my squad will learn about shortly after reading this, if you don't already know. I feel guilty when I don't have enough to pay a bill, and I feel guilty when I spend you on myself. I just feel guilty, and that needs to change. Starting today, the guilt ends. The lack of knowledge about you ends, and your days of causing more pain than progress are numbered. It will take patience, persistence, power tools, not literally, and steady progress, but our relationship is going to change. So I hope you're ready to start working for me instead of me working for you. Thank you for what we've been through, but mostly for what we're about to go through. P.S. Welcome to the squad. Love, Angie Marie, founder of Fat Girl Rock Bottom. So that is my money letter. That is what I had to say to money. I feel guilty about you. I hate you. I love you. I need you, but I don't want you. This is toxic. I can't stand you, but I can't get rid of you. And even though the letter was a little weird and I don't really understand the point of it, except for I found out that I always feel really guilty, I am doing all the pieces of homework in this Money Out Loud, and I plan to blog about it and also video about it because I feel like this is definitely going to take my life to the top. So I am going to get off of this video really quick. I'm going to jump on and I'm just going to do a quick one called a meeting with my CFO so that we can see how this first meeting with my CFO goes. So have a nice day. I'll catch you guys on the flip side.